Broadcast is live.
Welcome to a special emergency edition of the I-90 Dynasty recap. Things got nutso yesterday.
Trader. Near and dear to us, I ask you to remember just one word. The one word that makes it all possible, and that word is sell. I want you to get out there and sell, sell, sell. I want you to sell your socks off. I want you to sell it. It's all about sell.
So yeah, lots of trades yesterday.
Or fleece, as some...
Apparently, yeah, Hardy and I are just out here fleecing people. Twitter didn't do us any favors.
We've been at this, what now, 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
So at this point, if anyone gets fleeced, it's on them.
Yeah. I mean, if you add how many? I mean, I've done like 20 seasons now after last year, so it's just 14 of them were last year.
Then we've seen. If it's funny, is if you look back 2-3 years on some of these trades, it's like, oh my god, he was so bad,
and then yeah, it didn't matter.
Yeah, and or
it went the exact opposite way you thought it would.
Yeah, it's funny. You still look back on the black. I think it was Friday, the Black Friday with Justin.
No, that was when it was Chase.
And half those trades turned into nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Joey did get a championship out of Antonio Brown. Sorry. I got a shirtless championship out of Antonio Brown.
Like your trade for all the seconds last year, for example. That's a really good example of everyone that thought you.
No, I think everybody knew when that happened that it wasn't a great trade for me. But it looks really bad now. Yeah. Thankfully, I made that pick as late as humanly possible because
my first Smith, Elijah Moore, Trey Sermon, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Fields, and this year's 10th for Mike Williams and Leonard Fournette.
Hey, Leonard Fournette carried me this year.
That's true.
Mike Williams probably could have carried you if you didn't give him up.
Mike Williams got me from Joe Burrow to Lamar Jackson before I went back from Lamar Jackson to Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And actually, you figure Leonard Fournette just got me what? Oh, Joe Burrow and Josh Jacobs, along with Amari Cooper, who I got for a first.
It's all a circle.
It's all a circle.
It's a circle.
So, I have made 52 trades, including 3 yesterday.
Jesus.
The next closest one, Eric, is at 39. Then Hardy, you've got 35, and so does Joey.
Hey, Trust the Process, I want to point out, has 6.
6? That's 6 more than last year.
At that pace, she's going to catch you, Jay.
I don't know about that because I think I made more than 6 trades in the last year. I made the last 7, other than your Joe Mixon trade. But Mark jumping back in on the action. He took like a whole year off, and now he's out there mixing it up.
Yeah. I think that started. Actually, he reached out to me on that because of the trade bait.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like because he had the trade a couple weeks ago that started off this whole thing when I got Amari Cooper. And he sent that to me. We were talking about a completely different trade, and he just flipped me that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No offense, Mark, but man, his trade style. You know, you're talking about, hey, I'll sell you this Ford Focus, yeah. And then right when you go to sign the papers, hey, what about this Dodge Ram?
That is exactly what it's like.
It's like,
whereas trading with Jeff is super simple because it's like, hey, here's an offer. He's like, okay, send me a third on top of it, and we'll do it.
I don't know if me and Jeff have ever traded. Oh yeah, we have. But they're baby trades.
Yeah.
You know, like Isaiah Hodges for
a 7th. Yeah. Thank God those are gone after this year. I learned how to delete the later picks, and I just have to wait for the draft. And I'm very excited to get this giant block of 6th, 7th, and 8th round picks off of my roster.
It's a pain in the ass trying to make a trade with you because I look at I look at it and it's like, oh, he's got all these shit.
All this tree, all these picks that aren't real.
Garbage.
All these picks that don't exist.
Imaginary. Imagination.
So yeah, since this is why we're here, recap yesterday. I traded Leonard Fournette and Amari Cooper for Joe Burrow and Josh Jacobs. Then I flipped Elijah Mitchell to Jeff for Lamar and a third. And then Joey and I made a really weird trade. Yeah. We traded a whole bunch of little pieces, and I moved up 7 spots because he got Tom Brady, who, for his sake, I hope doesn't retire. And then Chris
Brady-
got a haul for Joe Mixon, the 105, my 23 first, and Kadarius Toney. Like that one, like everybody's mad and like Twitter agrees with them. I can see that going really bad. All you have to do is botch one of those picks, and Kadarius Toney kind of is just okay.
Yeah,
and
look what Tony did at the end of the year. So
yeah,
it's,
and
like I told Mark, it's a gamble.
right, the 23 first, it's mine. Like it's mine. If
But
that's
also-
earlier than 107, I think everybody would be surprised.
Yeah,
I feel like Mixon's a gamble too. Like I always feel like he's either hot or cold. Like
Right, like
I think Mixon next year is going to be his career year.
as I say, he
like, he's-
he may have just had his career year. Or he might have one more.
Yeah, I think he's going to have his career year next year because I think that team's going to focus now on the line.
They should. Well, they might be focused on how to keep their Super Bowl team together. Who knows?
Yeah, and or keeping Burrow not being Andrew Luck.
Yeah, 9 sacks in a game he won. That's impressive.
Yeah, so I think Mixon's got a couple more good like running back one type years, and 105 this year. You're looking at mediocre backs at best there. So
Right.
it's
It's a good pick, but it's not a top 3. I think the top 3 this year is kind of where you're looking at. Bam, bam, bam. These are the 3 guys that are going to go here.
I don't think, well, at least not at this point. There's no consensus.
Great protection and great.
That's
Ooh.
it.
Who's got great protection?
Click for it.
Well, I mean,
not me.
Nope.
whoa.
Heyo.
Hey-o.
I heard you got a job in Michigan.
Oh yeah, coaching the Panthers.
Yeah, you're coach of the Detroit Panthers or whatever the hell their name is.
You might need to change your Saskatchewan Rough Riders name.
Oh, that's a classic. Don't change your name too much.
Yeah, Jake.
Who would do that? I forgot the first year my name was Queen Cersei's Punt.
Forgot about that.
I went onto the Yahoo page today from the 27th
I thought that was Gary's name.
season.
Oh,
No, he was
oh.
also a Game of Thrones reference, but he was not that. He was a team has no
Team that should
name.
not be.
That's it. Yeah. Not gonna lie, Jake. I like the Patterson pickup in that Brady trade. That's a sneaky. I think could be
What's really messed up?
What's
That
up?
was the target in that trade.
really.
Was me getting Jarrett Patterson to handcuff Antonio Gibson.
See, to
Nice.
me, I like the Donta Foreman. Like everyone
That was
down on him.
literally a throw-in to make it so it was a 4-for-4.
To me, I think he
But-
showed he's gonna take some definite work from Henry.
Yeah, especially if they want to ease Henry through next year,
Yeah,
so that they have him.
or I don't even know what his contract is there. I'm actually
He
curious about
just signed a deal this year.
that. But was it just a 1-year deal?
No, it was a 4-year that has an out after 2.
Okay.
So he's definitely there next year.
Yeah.
Because he had signed a franchise, and
No.
then they came
It was
to
a 1 year, $920,000. You're right. They did up. No,
Yeah.
no,
It
no,
was
no.
a 4-year
He's free
deal.
agent.
Nah.
He's a free agent.
What are you on?
And,
Spotrac?
over the cap right now.
I don't trust him. Spotrac. Signed a 4-year deal. I remember it.
He signed that with Texans.
Well, oh, you're talking about Foreman. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Henry's contract.
Oh no, I'm
The
looking at
Foreman's
that.
a free agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with how he performed,
I don't think he's going to go get some great big role in it.
no, he's gonna get a hand.
But
or
he
not,
could get a similar role to what he had this year.
All right.
You know,
Because Tennessee also had Hillman. Who was it? Hillman? No,
No, they had
I've got
McNichols.
him. No, I've got him too.
Oh.
Hillard.
Did they have Dontrell Hilliard at one point
Yeah.
there at
Yep.
the end? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, they had a little bit of everybody with
So
McNichols and AP and
to me, that was my favorite part of that deal is the Foreman tossing.
Yeah.
I like Patterson because UB, but he
Is that-
only,
he's a perfect handcuff for
yeah.
Antonio Gibson. And the real motivation for me to behind the whole thing was to get guys who I could put on my taxi squad because it wasn't full. And I got to get down to 20. I think I'm at 21 because
that
I
one
caught
weight
Dare Bungale.
So that 108
you know,
pick can be taxi
yeah.
squad safe too.
Right. If I keep it that long.
Or out of your guys' trade, I take Lamar there. Like,
Yeah.
I know probably most people like the Elijah side, but
No, Twitter
No.
loved the Lamar side.
Yeah.
I think you had a point though that a lot of that had to deal with people not reading.
That one in particular, I did gold star it.
But you're getting
It's
a
people
top
quickly
5,
reading on
top 10
Twitter.
quarterback.
Right. And I got into a long argument with some people because I was talking about these trades about how much better Lamar is for fantasy than Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically through all that, I took a downgrade at quarterback. And they more or less convinced me. It's like 5 points a game. Even with his terrible year this year, if you take out his game where he got hurt and got 1 point, he was beaten. And if you take out the 2 games where Burrow went nuclear at the end of the year.
Right.
So obviously, you're kind of
skewing the
cherry picking a little.
Right.
But it becomes 5 points a game pretty quick.
And I don't think Elijah Mitchell is anything special. Like,
he's got that job, I think, for at least a year.
I'm just worried. I didn't like Mitchell that much because it was San Fran. It seemed like whoever's available, whoever would go off. Debo.
Right.
Didn't someone go get hurt?
Everybody.
Sermon
Mooster. Yeah, like
Sermon. I think I don't know.
Yeah,
Sermon was injured early, but then he just kind of faded. But
right, and then he fumbled like all the time when he came out.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just a messy situation. It's another Patriots backfield. In my opinion.
It is, and basically, I just have to hope that they don't add more.
Right.
If they don't add more, I'm good. And now I have 2 backs in that field with Jeff Wilson because their running backs are usually valuable. You just have to figure out which one is the right one to start.
And then will Trey Lance starting? How will that?
Right.
He's got to next year, right? You think?
Not if Jimmy wins the Super Bowl, who knows?
But Jimmy's not doing. They're not winning because
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I don't know.
But if he makes it, I think I saw it. If he makes the Super Bowl, he'll have made it 2 out of 3 years.
Right. And the other year he was hurt. Like when he's not hurt, they win football games.
Yeah, he's a manager at best, but he's a manager.
He's
what, zero touchdowns, 2 interceptions this postseason so far? They're winning in spite of him.
Well, somebody else has a whole bunch of touchdowns and no interceptions, and he's sitting at home.
Yep.
So I'm looking. Mark actually flipped Cooper, his 2.05.
His first is second.
Tony for Mixon straight up.
So, what was that? He gave his first and his second and Tony for Mixon.
For his first and second, Cooper and Tony for Mixon.
Ooh. When you put it that way, I don't like it even more.
He also gave you Cooper cheap.
Right.
So
Cooper's tough.
Yeah.
He's at that point. I think we talked about this a little bit before. Cooper's production is going to outweigh his trade value at this point. He's going to score more points than he's going to be dynasty, magic points.
I remember you 5 years ago bitching about how much you hated Cooper because he's the guy that'll get you 40 points one week and 3 points the next.
I mean, that was when he was on the Raiders. Since he's been on Dallas, it's been a lot more consistent. Which is right when I traded him for Tyreek, when Tyreek was a child beater or whatever.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah, that's how that trade happened, is because Tyreek was in trouble. And it was my tank year. So I'm like, oh, he's going to be suspended and not score me points. This will be perfect. And he scored me a couple of points and got hurt, so it worked out. But,
perfect example of Amari. Last year, week 1, 35. Week 2, 4. Week 3, 4. Week 4, 15. Week 5, 14.
Yep. Yeah, no, Amari was my first round pick in the startup. Actually, at one point this year, I had most of my early picks back because I had Amari and AJ. I still have AJ Green, who are my first 2 picks. It was kind of weird. It's like old. What is old is new again.
A reunion. It's a reunion.
The Cooper, Fournette, Burrow, Jacobs deal. It's reasonable. If Fournette re-signs and Brady comes back, that's fine.
Right. If his situation stays the same, I think Fournette and Jacobs are close. and he could afford to flip a quarterback for a non-quarterback and improve, because no matter what, I think he improves his starting roster.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's bumping somebody off who was at the bottom and replacing him with Fournette or Cooper.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
value-wise, sure, that's why everybody's mad. But his roster will be better for the trade. Honestly, I don't know if mine will. I was talking to you about it today, Hardy. I'm like, oh shit, I can't even start all the running backs I have now
Nope.
that I would want to start. I have 5 good running backs, depending on how you want to feel about Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That could be
Yeah,
JT.
After our conversation we had, that's
Shut
kind
up,
of the
Jeff.
reason. That's the reason I kicked the tires on that one. We won't
Right.
talk too much detail there, but
Right, yeah, you were coming after a couple of my running backs for a bigger name running back, and I just didn't want it.
so it was an interesting day, and I know my team. I finally closed it because I'm like, I need to step away. You know?
Yeah, but you were going to trade me for Dare. You could have had him if you didn't step away. I would have taken clearly anything for him.
Yeah. Like, for some reason, I thought he had another year.
Yeah, no, they signed him to a temporary short-term deal. So he's a restricted free agent. They might bring him back. But if J-Rob gets healthy in 7 months instead of like the 4 that it took Cam Akers, like, then whoever's there is third behind J-Rob and Etienne.
All right.
So I remember everyone saying how we had this debate for newbies, with Akers. Oh, Achilles is running backs don't happen. Akers comes back, and Foreman, who was the other example, balled out.
Foreman took 2 years
to
come back.
But he's the only one. He's like the first that has.
Right.
Everyone else, when they had that injury, is done.
I don't know. I think Marlon Mack can play, but you just didn't need him anymore.
Yeah, I'm looking at it going, it might be like the ACLs used to be, when ACL was
ACL used to be a deal breaker, like, his career is over.
And now they're a dime a dozen, and okay, we'll see him next year.
Right, yeah, like AP was the first one, like he came back and nearly broke the rushing record after tearing his ACL.
Right.
And everybody's like, okay, ACL, you just lose your season and you come back.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we were talking before Jeff got on here, like Godwin has an ACL. And we're trying to figure out, is he even going to miss any of the season? Probably a little bit, but definitely not the whole thing, because it was just so late in the year.
I do wonder, though.
OTAs and stuff.
That ACL, you think that keeps him in Tampa?
I think a lot is going to hinge on somebody's decision here in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well,
please, Tom Brady, please do the decision on ESPN for like 2 hours.
I've seen them talking about.
He's going to do it on the Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday, he's going to make an announcement.
Just to counteract the Super Bowl, Tom Brady talking about what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw them signing Winston if Brady retires, and I'm like, wouldn't hate that.
Like my Jameis Winston shares would like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did that before. Like they rode that ride already. I don't think Bruce would want to do that again. Like,
yeah,
Bruce is going to need an OC.
Yeah, has it been official yet? Or
no, because they're still trying to weigh if they're going to fire their GM. Well, hello, Remy. Were you loud upstairs and now you've been demoted to the basement? You're going to pop that balloon, you dumbass.
Remy's a dog, not a kid, too.
Yeah. Kids are in bed. That's why I can do this.
Right.
I shipped my 4-year-old kid out to her babysitter. So on a plane in 8 hours.
8 hours. You'll be fine. It's probably, a 3-hour flight? You take a nap.
Yeah.
Or you can watch The Eternals so we can do our other podcast next week.
I got shit to do. I'll be working a little bit on the plane.
Ew, gross.
Yeah.
I'm not even working tomorrow.
Me neither.
Hey. Everybody's taking tomorrow off.
Hey.
The one thing I think everybody, including what we just did, overlooked going back to yesterday, Joey got Chase Edmonds, which could, in theory, wrap up the Arizona backfield if it all sticks together. So, that's a maybe thing.
Yeah. If Brady stays healthy, Kmet keeps going.
Yeah, I really hated to give up Cole Kmet, but
I don't like Joey improving just because of the way things.
I think
sit.
that was a motivating factor for him, was just to not give you another 101.
But you know what? If it's early next year, that's fine too.
Now we're gonna figure out how to get Joey into the playoffs.
See,
I don't have to play him 3 times next year, so he can be a little bit better.
the way I look at that trade is, if Brady does play, kind of hurts your roster a little bit. So
Me?
maybe. I don't know. I think Brady at times over Burrow.
Oh, you mean at the quarterback? Yeah, Brady is probably going to score more points.
So, maybe helps him, hurts you. Comes out in the wash.
Yeah. Other than when I played Tom, I could afford to lose a couple points in any given week. When I played Tom, I lost once and won the other 2 by like a combined 2.5 points. Those were sweats. We both, because the one I was just on my Twitter feed, the one was like a Monday night game where it came down to Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled, but then Lamar Jackson ran for 15 yards.
Yep.
And I squeaked out a win.
It's fun seeing now that we've been into this 5 years where people are kind of at times embracing. Thank God your tank and rebuild actually worked.
Right.
Otherwise, nobody would ever consider a rebuild.
Right. Nobody would ever consider selling for picks. Nobody would ever considering just punting a year so they could get a high pick. Everybody would just be like, no, we're going to go for it and play it just like redraft. But yeah, it works if you do it right and if you get lucky. I got lucky and I fucked it up. I took CEH over JT. I fucked it up. But that's why you get all the picks. So that way, when you fuck up the one thing, I still got CeeDee Lamb, Antonio Gibson, Michael Pittman, Joe Burrow.
Right.
I still don't know how TJ did it. He's got 3 firsts this year, endless amounts of seconds in the next year or 2.
Yeah. Well, the firsts are pretty simple. He got one from me in that giant Fournette deal, and then he managed to get Eric's in a weird way. He traded 2 early seconds in last year's draft for a first and a third in this year's draft. So, the immediate impact went to Eric, but Eric wasn't counting on his pick being the 104.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if his pick's the 109 or the 110 this year, that trade looks way different.
Right.
But because it's the fucking 104.
Good picks lately, and
mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, last year's draft was pretty well loaded, but the Devonta Smith pick in the first round, right after that was Lawrence, Trey Lance, Michael Carter could have been an option, Bateman, Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore would have been okay, but Devonta Smith.
Yeah, Devonta Smith produced the most out of those guys.
And then his next pick, Rondale Moore, around that was Gainwell, Tony, Terrence Marshall. It was his next pick, but he hit. And then
he nailed the draft, kind of.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing between you and him. Top 2 teams in top 2 drafts or last 2 drafts.
Right.
So,
you can talk about fleecing people in trades, but it was draft picks.
Yeah.
Just as much as it was trades. I mean, sure, I went out and I used a good draft pick from 2019 and AJ Brown, and I bought the championship basically by getting Eckler. If I don't make that trade, I lose. But
you made that trade because you had.
I had expendable assets at wide receiver because I took CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Michael Pittman.
That's what I'm hoping the next 2 years for me.
Right. That's pretty obvious because you're just loading up.
Yeah. I got 5 firsts in the next 2 years and I think a couple seconds. Yeah. Not much. But.
So, we talked about it a little bit in the chat. Firsts can miss, but man, when firsts hit, they make a huge impact.
Yeah.
Because I was just looking, 2019, well, Sammy Watkins, that goes back to that whole Tyreek Hill thing. It looks really bad on paper, but it kind of made sense at this time. N'Keal Harry, Paris Campbell, Darrell Henderson, I think classifies as a first-round bust. Especially, again, all of those names went before DK Metcalf, and AJ Brown. And for what it's worth, I think there was some tight end that was buried in this draft somewhere, I thought, but I can't find him.
I still lose sleep over the fact that me and you had a trade queued up, ready to go, ready to go. We had both agreed, but it was kind of pending. And then you're like, nope, it's off.
Yeah, it was for AJ Brown.
Yep, it was.
Because I thought for sure Eric would take AJ Brown, but he bit on that whole Chiefs love and Mecole Hardman.
Yep.
Boom. There it is. And like Joey took TJ Hawkinson at the 10. It was the right pick. But like TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant, like tight ends take a while, but I don't think you're happy with those picks right now.
Yeah.
3 years down the road.
Don't get me
Obviously,
wrong,
Tom wasn't because he went out and got Kyle Pitts.
You know, after Hawkinson, you have Metcalf and AJ Brown. You got Singletary.
Yeah, it gets pretty thin. Kyler was in there. Debo was a nice third-round pick for him, too.
Right.
Did Debo really do anything before this year?
Yeah, his rookie year, this 2019 year, he was relevant.
Okay.
He had a similar thing to Ayuk 2 years ago there, whatever, how we want to classify it, in 2020.
Yeah.
He was the only guy. This was a year where he kind of broke out as like this,
Swiss Army
two-way
knife.
player,
Right.
playing out of the backfield all the time. Yeah, the late rounds, we got rid of them for a reason because they're all fucking crap. Oh, there it is. Terry McLaurin was at the 609 in this draft.
I think, that was one of, and Myles Gaskin is in there that, he's productive.
Yeah, but I cut him. That doesn't even count.
True.
He didn't have a job for a whole nother year after that.
Yeah, there's players that can be found that late, but it's
right
1 out of 30.
Right. Well, yeah,
Deontay Johnson was a 5th rounder there.
And in 2000, I think the first year we did this was where the hell? Maybe it was 2019. Somewhere it was Mark Andrews.
But the thing is, too, the past 2 years, you could see it. The league's learned rookies.
Yeah.
Last year, the first free agent was Logan Thomas with you at 402.
Right.
That people have realized that, I think that was by far the latest.
Yeah, it gets later every year.
Wasn't Brady the year before that at like
401?
Yeah.
And the year
and
before
I think that was the first year we put the taxi in place. So people, that's
right. You could stash him a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah, I took Herbert over Brady just because I could stash him.
Right. Yeah, and then the year before that was Sammy Watkins going at the 105. And then our first rookie draft, I think I took the first vet in the middle of the third. Yeah, I took Kenneth Dixon. Super relevant.
Yep.
Yeah, Mark Andrews in 2018 was the 6'10".
Damn.
And he's now basically the tight end, too.
Why does Joey always end up with Miami quarterbacks? Josh Rosen, 2018.
Well, he wasn't a Miami quarterback when he took him.
I know. That's the best part.
He's not a Miami quarterback now.
No. He just was for a year.
I think he's Atlanta. I think it was Matt Ryan's backup last time.
No, he was the third string there behind Felipe Franco or whatever the hell his name was.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, I think he was good. He just didn't care.
Right.
Yeah.
He went before Josh Allen, though.
I still don't know who I'm looking at for the 101 right now. I know last year everyone had it pretty well pinned.
Except for the last 2 years, really. Well, after the draft 2 years ago was pinned.
Justin was screaming last year that he was taking Devonta Smith overall 101.
Right, and he wound up going, 8, 7?
That pick was also traded.
Yeah, but he also then didn't take him at 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was just saying it because, I imagine it was just trying to hype up trade value.
Right.
He did all right. He got the 107 on top of Travis Etienne.
Yeah, that one's still up in the air. To be determined there.
Oddly enough, Justin's team is historically not very good, but it has Josh Allen. And he can thank his aunt for that. If you remember, Chase didn't show up to the draft, so he made Colleen draft for him.
Yeah.
And she just kept drafting quarterbacks.
Oh my god!
No, I thought that was him. I thought that was
No, in the
No.
startup, he kept drafting quarterbacks. And then she kept drafting quarterbacks because it's the only name she knew.
Oh, okay.
And she took Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen.
And then he cut Lamar Jackson.
And they cut Lamar. Joey picked him up, traded him to Chris, who traded him to Justin, who traded him to me.
Who traded him to me?
You know,
He got around. He might have
back,
gotten around as much as Larry Fitzgerald now. Larry Fitzgerald was always the OG trade whore. It might be Lamar. Lamar's been on the bench of 2 championship winning teams now.
Jesus.
He's never started in one, but he's been on the bench twice. Once his rookie year with Joey because he just wasn't confident. I think he was pretty new on the lineup, and this year because he just is pussy.
The NFL draft can't get here soon enough.
I know the feeling. That was me 2 years ago.
Yep. And I'm trying not to make the same mistake you made.
It still worked out.
Yeah, I guess.
It could have been ridiculously better, and I would have the second best team would be a lot farther behind me.
Don't get me wrong. If someone makes me a offer I can't refuse for that pick, I'd sell it. But at this point, I have it narrowed down to 2 or 3 guys if landing spots happen.
Right. I mean, it's you, so this conversation's a little different. But just in general, like if you have the 101, the most likely trade you make is the one Justin made last year.
Yeah.
You don't sell it for one big piece. You get a first and next year's first, or you get a first and another contributing player.
Yeah, and that's the type of offer I don't think I'd consider. I wouldn't trade the 101 right now for a single player.
Unless it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it'd have to be massive overpay because technically the 101
is probably like what the RB9, RB10.
Yeah,
value wise, right around there.
My most recent mock draft, I got.
Oh, he's doing mock drafts. Oh, he's got a problem.
No, 101 last year technically is Jamar Chase, which is now dynasty player number 1.
Right. It's funny. Wide receivers are very rarely anymore. Like right before we got into it, it was always wide receivers 101. Yeah. It's been a run of running backs now. But despite the fact that running backs are still going early, wide receivers are the ones who are just taking over. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, and DK Metcalf the year before.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like receivers gain all the value, but they still go to the running backs because, positional scarcity. That's all it is.
Yeah.
They're so important. It's like if you're in a super flex league, it's why quarterback is always the thing. For what it's worth, Jonathan Taylor right now in DLF ADP is 101. Then it's Jefferson, Chase.
Yeah, the sheet I use is just pretty much takes hundreds of different mocks. And the most recent update they have is from November. So, we're a little outdated, but I don't think Chase hurt his stock since November.
No. So January 2022 and Christian McCaffrey still a 108 in a 1 quarterback league. No thanks.
Yeah, same. I looked at that offer today. I'm like, maybe I can get McCaffrey a plus. No. But
I realized since I bought their helmets, they've gone.
Oh no!
Away.
Do me a favor. Don't buy any helmets of like Austin Eckler or I don't know whoever the fuck's on my team today. It changes so much I don't even know.
Yeah. After they got me that ring, I bought their Barkley and CMC helmets.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that day where you're like, "Oh, look at these helmets I bought."
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fun to watch in the league. I think these days people are now just starting to value players not emotionally. Like you still have some emotional attachment to people, but I know I do for certain. Mixon hurt because I know I stole them from you, but
yeah, you did.
Starting to see these players as just assets and stats. That's all they are. It helps when you're in more than one league.
It does. It helps when you're more than 2. Or you're in 3.
I'm in 3.
It helps when you're in more than 3.
Well,
you sent me that offer, and I gave you a big, long reason, and none of them had to do with anything about the trade. It was about how I was positioned on all the assets you were trying to acquire.
Like, I think if I would have sent that same offer, if someone else had them to someone else in the league with one team,
Maybe.
might have happened.
Might happen.
So we'll see. I'm still kicking the tires on a few, but I decided to cool off.
Take a step back.
If someone wants to call, phone's always open. But
Yeah, I still gotta clear up one roster spot in the next 2 weeks. So if anybody wants to give me like a 8th round pick for Devontae Booker.
I'll do it for Travis Kelce. Done.
No.
Book it.
Nah. You have nothing on your team that will give me Travis Kelce.
If I offered you the 1-on-1, you take it for Travis Kelce.
Yeah, but then I'd have to go over and trade it again
I
for
don't know.
tight end. Because then my only tight end is Harrison Bryant. Don't get me wrong, I like Harrison Bryant, but he can't be my tight end on a team that's trying to win a title.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun offseason, that's for sure. I've gone through like the taxi squads and they're kind of barren right now.
Yeah, it was a rough year for the tax. There was nothing good on there all year.
Or you have stuff on there like I could see someone making a run at. There's some running backs. There's some players on there that are a first or 2 firsts. If you have the late ones, maybe, but
right. Yeah, now that you know where the picks are. Yeah, I get that. But who's really, if you have somebody like that, I think you go back to the emotional attachment.
How's that rule kick into play with
the expansion?
I have 2 firsts. Is it?
Oh, it's in
if
the.
I
rules.
make a grade for first round value, is it?
It's your first in your. It's 101 and 105. It's your next 2 available firsts.
But what if it's just 1? If I'm giving up one first round,
it's the higher. It's the higher. If you raid for a first right now, it's the 101.
Okay, that's good to know.
It's in the bylaws, but I do know that offhand.
Yeah. Just
because I had to rewrite them a few times when that all started.
Yeah.
We tried rating without actually having picks.
Yeah. There's a few of us that have more than 1 first. And, like if Justin rates somebody, is he giving up to 103 or the 107? So good to bring
there hasn't been a raid in 5 months. And that was for somebody who's been traded like 3 times now.
I almost did today, but then I'm like, it won't help me.
Strategy point to you and anybody who listens. Don't raid when the rosters aren't tight.
Yeah.
Like right now it floats up to 25. When it gets down to 20, raids hurt a lot more.
Yeah. Well, raids, you do that this Sunday, and they have to make their decision by next Sunday.
Right. But
20.
No, the Super Bowl's in 2 weeks. So you gotta push that back a week.
Yeah.
It's in 3 weeks.
Isn't it? Well, no, he's saying if you did it this Sunday. If you did it you did it for the Pro Bowl, then they'd have to make the decision. Yeah, but if you just do it after the Super Bowl, then they have a week to figure out if they're going to cut somebody, trade somebody, or just let you have the raid.
Yeah. Because right now, at this point, I think most people are compliant. You two aren't.
We're not. I bitched at Joey because the trade put him way over because he traded taxi squad guys.
Oof.
Joey's allowed to be at 26, so he's 2 over. Because one of his quote-unquote players is actually a pick.
Yeah, he's showing 27 on the spreadsheet. Yeah. He's got to cut 7 guys.
Yeah, by then. He's got to cut 2, like now.
Yeah, he could throw, Michael Carter down there.
Yeah, he's got moves to make. He just needs to make them. Yeah, he doesn't really need to cut anybody right away.
As long as your notations on who can go down, he's got some moves you can make.
Yeah, those are good. Carter was never down.
Cut Philip Lindsay.
I traded him back and forth. I've been doing that a lot this year. Guys I had sold, brought them back. Guys I bought, sent them back. It's all a circle.
I do love. Let's see. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defenses are still held.
Yep. And some of them have been held. One of them in particular has been held since the startup.
Wait.
Just for 5 years, he's had the Seahawks defense. Gary drafted the Seahawks defense, and Marcus just wrote out That, and he drafted in a rookie draft the Chiefs defense like the following year, and he's never picked up another defense. He's never had to.
No way.
He doesn't think about it, but it doesn't always work out because neither one of those defenses are that good at fantasy. One thing I was going to do today, but I actually got caught up doing work. I wanted to look and see like
Seahawks were the 28th defense this year.
I wanted to see if there was anything linear or trackable about
Seahawks
the
were the
defenses
21st
that are relevant.
Last year.
Yeek.
Hold on. 19.
Mark, buddy, if you're listening, cut the Seahawks.
19. They were 18. They haven't been a top 10 defense since we started the MFL.
But do you know what's funny? Mark's already compliant and down a man, so he doesn't need to cut him.
For the love of God, cut him just to cut him.
He's at 19 with only 4 on his taxi squad.
Oh, God. Someone trade him an 8th round pick for Seattle just to cut him.
He'll reject it. He'll counter with, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes for your entire team.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, all with love.
Or, oh, God.
Yeah. I did it last year. It was the only year I ever carried a defense, and it was the Niners D. And then they just, or 2 years ago I did it, and then they just came out and
I
sucked.
carried the Rams, you know.
Yeah, you did carry the Rams. You traded for them right at the end of the year. I think that was your logic.
Yeah. Like the Bills, I understand the Bills being held. You know, they've been a top 10 defense past 2 years. I get that.
Yeah.
Hell, they've been the last 3 years almost. But
Really, fantasy wise?
Yeah.
11.
They get a lot of turnovers.
3 or 2. So
Actually, the Patriots defense is justifiable too.
yeah,
187. I'm just looking at
But
points this year.
the rest of them are
Yeah,
been
a lot more people have adapted my strategy, your strategy of just cut a defense until the season starts, unless there's one you really like in the rookie draft.
People stream them.
Yep.
I am curious where we're going to see the next trade come down, whether it's me or you involved, Jake, or if somebody else is going to make a
It'd be
move.
cool if somebody else did one.
What,
last time a
5
trade
years? You're
didn't
averaging
involve
10
you and
trades
me.
a year, Jake.
Huh?
You're averaging 10 trades a year.
Yeah, and you got to remember that's only in one of my some odd leagues.
Hold on,
Last year
that's
I
10
made I think last year I made 100 trades.
You have 40% turnover on your roster every year, at least.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I turned over 8 assets yesterday.
Jesus.
The last trade that didn't involve you or I, Eric traded Christine. It was a 3rd for Tyler Boyd and a 5th.
Okay.
The last big boy trade didn't involve us. Hope that had you in it. I'm looking for something with like a 1st or equal value. And
Juju and Cordell.
Maybe.
Pepper, maybe.
Oh, Juju's not really. His value's not really there. It's not that he's not there. Well, Elijah Mitchell in a 2nd. Or Elijah Mitchell in a 1st for Robert Woods in a 2nd.
Yeah.
Like 20 minutes before Robert Woods tore his ACL.
Whoops.
It's okay, Jeff. It's right after you traded me a 2nd for Tyson Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jeff, haven't you learned don't trade with Jake? He's
I
going to have
was-
a bad time.
He did good this time. He got Lamar.
Yeah.
For now.
And it was like the exact same type of trade, but I'm like, oh, I need to do something real quick. Let me send Jeff an offer. And he just sent a quick counter. I'm like, yep, that worked.
I just think about the Junkies trade for
Dalton
Dalton.
for
First.
23 first.
That
I
was
really
before-
hope I really hope
before
Sidlow
Fields.
tanks that team. I really hope Sidlow tanks that team.
That was before Fields was there.
It was before Fields was there.
You still have that first from him?
I fucking hope so. If not, I should have got a hell of a ton for it. I'm really bad at spending picks in every league. Don't worry, it's not just you guys. The only place where I was able to hoard picks was in that newbies league.
Yes, you still have that pick.
Okay. Yeah,
But you do not have your own first round.
No, I used my own first round to get Javonte Williams.
Ah, fucker.
I used 2 first-round picks to get Javonte Williams.
Oh, Mark, if you're listening, me and Jake are both running at him because of this other league.
Yeah.
Yeah, that quick backstory there. I was holding like the 107 or whatever, and the guy behind me needed a quarterback, so I was trying to convince him to trade me the pick. Move up, take the quarterback you need. No. So finally called his bluff, took Zach Wilson, and he turns and trades his pick to Jake, who takes Javonte Williams. And I'm like, fuck.
I was like, oh, Javonte, I can take him this late. Okay, I'll just give him 2 firsts.
And I needed that running back on that team.
Yeah. I didn't.
But I won the championship there, so
Yeah. Did you? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You finished 3rd in both of my leagues, and you won that league.
Yep.
I mean, Javonte is the 11th overall pick right now in Dynasty ADP. So, Mark, pro tip: don't let anybody swindle you out of that. You're sitting on gold.
For now.
I mean, that's higher than anybody on Hardy's team.
No.
Yeah. Why? Who's your number 1 asset in your mind? Dalvin Cook? Alvin Kamara. Both of them are below.
Fuck. Maybe.
You don't have an elite wide receiver anymore. They all died.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Godwin, but with that ACL.
Godwin? Ew. Deontay's above Godwin now.
Jesus.
Yeah, Deontay's 23rd in ADP.
Dalvin Cook's sitting at 16. Yeah.
Godwin's 30th.
I still take Dalvin Cook over some of the guys that are sitting around him, though.
I mean, wide receiver, running back, that's a strategy point rather than a value point.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's running back 6. I do want Javonte over Dalvin. I want Najee. I want Swift. I want Taylor. CMC and Dalvin's like a coin flip.
Yep, I think so. I think Dalvin's healthier.
CMC's younger. I don't know.
This doesn't seem like it. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, that was.
They're all same draft.
Yeah. Well, that was like Burrow is only like 8 months younger than Lamar.
Yeah, Burrow is 2 years older than Herbert.
Yeah. Herbert's super young. There's guys, I think, coming in this year's draft that are older than Herbert.
Yeah.
Because didn't Burrow redshirt a year in Ohio State or something? Or
something, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, he definitely came out late. We're talking about Ohio State and their perverse, disgusting head coach. Tried to ruin.
I'm just looking at their wide receivers this year.
Yeah, you should be looking at their wide receivers.
Garrett Wilson, please don't go to Browns. Don't go to the Browns. Don't go to
Why the Browns need a wide receiver? Who do they have? Fucking Jarvis Landry?
I saw one mock
law
draft.
firm Peoples Jones.
I saw a mock draft somewhere that wanted. I got just looking at it. I want to be sick. Like it showed the Packers trading Rodgers for 2 firsts, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna take." I think they took Jamison Williams and Burks, and I'm like,
give Jordan Love all the toys to not get him the ball.
Yeah,
They franchise tag Adams too, so they have all 3.
they got to move.
Adams will hold out. He'll just say "fuck you."
Yeah, they have to move Adams if Rodgers walks or trades. But I'm curious if anyone else, newbies. I don't think we're going to see a trade till closer to the draft.
No, I'm not even actively shopping anything.
I'm in the position there. Yeah, I'm going to be selling, but I don't have any draft picks to sell right now, so I'm not moving.
I have all of them.
Yeah, tell me about it. But once the NFL draft happens, people start falling in love with their players, and I think you'll start seeing people move.
Yep, rookie fever's starting to take over.
Eric is good or bad, notorious for getting rookie fever, so I could see him
making some moves for a pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's made some guys their picks, good or bad, but he went after who he wanted.
Yeah.
Who was that trade that him and Nick made draft day? They both drafted their players. didn't like their players, so they swapped them.
Oh, let me look. Keep talking, and I'll see what I can find.
This Eagles wide receiver. Weird name.
Oh. No. Oh. Wasn't Arcega-Whiteside, was it?
Yes. Arcega-Whiteside and somebody else. But they'd just taken both these players. So I don't know whoever actually really won that.
Well, I mean, if you got Arcega-Whiteside, like I did, I traded for him at one point. You lost.
That was it was no.
It would have been the 2020 draft, right?
So it's 2019.
2019.
Which is hidden.
No, I just unhid it.
Okay.
It wasn't for something that Nick picked. It was Arcega-Whiteside for Alshon Jeffrey. And we all thought that Nick smashed the trade. He traded some rookie for Alshon, and Alshon never caught a pass again in his whole life.
Yep.
Why is Nick historically known for killing wide receivers?
Hey, well, the one him and Joey traded, and they both died. Right here,
Yeah.
Doug Baldwin and Des Bryant. The best part of that trade was the 5th round pick that turned into Benny Snell.
But same with Arcega-Whiteside and Alshon. They both died.
Here's a better question. Why is Nick chasing Eagles wide receivers? Because now he's got Jalen Rieger.
Wait, no.
Yeah, traded for Rieger at the end of the year.
Oops, I missed that one.
Yeah, it was small.
Eagles take a first round pick this year, or first round on a wide receiver again?
No.
I think they try and help that defense.
Yeah.
Maybe take a running back, depending on how they feel about Sanders.
Yeah.
They got Boston Scott. They're fine.
The pick was Rager and a 4th for Jeffrey Wilson, who got traded again later.
Yes.
I love just the stacking of trades that we've started to do. It's like, oh, I traded for this guy. Oh, and now he's gone. I mean, I had Amari Cooper for 2 weeks.
Again.
It's fun looking back at some of the other ones about, what became what.
Yeah, here's the big trade. I gave Nick AJ Green and the pick that was JJ Arcega-Whiteside. And I got all of this great stuff. Mark Ingram, OJ Howard, and Paris Campbell. But don't worry, I never drafted Paris Campbell. I traded that and got TK Metcalf.
I'm not going to save my changes.
No, don't save anything. Get out.
I like this one. CeeDee Lamb for Tua, Herbert, and Rashad Bateman.
Yeah. What's funny is I don't know how I feel about that because those picks could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
The Tua Herbert thing, when you're drafting quarterbacks, it's team situational. Or the other one. Where was there one? I don't know where it went. But when Jeff sold Eckler, yeah. Justin Jefferson for Austin Eckler and some junk. I don't know. Obviously that's the Jefferson side now, but it's not that bad.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm looking at what I did to Joey in the 2020 draft.
Oh, where he just kept trading you his next year pick?
Ayuk for Amari Rodgers. Justin Herbert for Javion Hawkins. Antonio got Andy Golden for somebody I've never actually heard of.
He's on the Bucks.
Troutman for somebody I've never heard of. And then
Jonnu for. All right, I actually like that one. He gets Jordan Brevin and gives up Jonnu Smith. Then Jacoby Myers for a murderer.
Don't get drunk for the draft.
Right? Especially if your plan is to just draft a quarterback who's not that great at fantasy. Regardless of how he is at football, he's never going to be a great fantasy quarterback.
I might have to see about getting up there for the draft this year. That was fun last year.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe we get more than just 4 of us together.
Right.
But I got to get rolling here, guys.
Yeah, it's 10:30. This was a long one. We can't let Hardy come on here too long. We fucking talk too long. We'll have you on at some point in the off season. I think we're trying to get every owner on if they want.
Yeah.
Talk about
the year. We're gonna do a sell, or buy. And...
Yeah. If we have another day with 4 trades that piss off everybody, then we'll have to do an emergency podcast again.
Yeah,
we had a totally different plan of what we were going to do tonight, and then I'm like, all
right, we gotta talk
about this stuff. Yeah,
it's the fleece report.
The fleece report. I like that. Yeah, you're going to have a bad time if you weren't making trades. People bitching with people not making deals.
Hey, I'm still selling. Let's go.
Like I said, come get one of those guys I'm going to cut, so I don't have to cut them. And I'll take nothing.
Anything.
All right,
Jeff,
y'all.
enjoy the nap.
Yeah, get back to your nap, buddy.
Yep.
Have a nice
And,
trip again, Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Deuces.
See
So,
y'all.
there you go, boys.
Bye.